Before we get started, I just wanted to thank Plus-Ultraman for his continued support of my channel, and my friend Jemma for the new art of me as a Saiyan, as well as other artist renderings of things. Please check out their links in the description below. Thanks. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Jredd, and today I'm going to be doing something just a little bit different. Let's call this one Dragon Ball Shift 6.5, and subtitle it Theoretical Raditz Fight Power Levels and Training for the Saiyans. Last time on Dragon Ball Shift, Raditz arrived to fight the forces of Earth, and after 5 years of training and refining their skills, they managed to work together and get the jump on Raditz while he was in his base form. However, he had a trump card and used a power ball technique he'd picked up from years of watching Prince Vegeta. Though he lacked the refinement and control that Vegeta possessed, his raw power was more than enough to eradicate most of Earth's best warriors. Although, to their credit, they did manage to slice off Raditz's tail in the process. This, coupled with Goku's insane rage boost over losing his friends, allowed him to have an edge and eventually win. However, right when Goku was about to finish the job, his keen Saiyan sight noticed a single tear in Raditz's eye as he lamented his pitiful existence and resigned himself to his fate. This resulted in Goku hesitantly sparing his brother on the condition that they train together and try to best Raditz's former comrades. Considering Raditz figured he was as good as dead anyway, he readily accepted a chance to prove his worth to those that called him weak all his life. Thus, an uneasy alliance was formed. Now, before we get into what type of training each party is doing, let's first get into some hypothetical ballpark power levels that Raditz Scouter might have picked up if Piccolo had not destroyed it, and each fighter was given the chance to fight him one-on-one and use an ultimate attack, if you will. So, let's look at some canon examples around this time for a reference, and calculate accordingly. So we know that in canon, Goku without weights was around 416, and when he powered up his Super Kamehameha, he was right at 924. That's quite a jump in power, roughly about 2.23 times increase. Now let's look at Piccolo, who in canon without weights was at 408, but when he charged his attack for 5 minutes, he was able to exceed Raditz's own power level of 1200 by a decent margin, allowing for a kill shot. Now, considering it's not likely that in a one-on-one fight Raditz would just stand there and let someone charge for 5 minutes, let's use Goku's calculation and say that on a good day, using everything they have with a quick charge time, they can get off one attack that might be 2.23 times their original power level, give or take. Let's start off with Chaozu, who is around 300 and something, but his psychic power caused interference. What does this mean? Well, let's say he uses one hand to try to hold you in place while he charges his most powerful Super Dodon Ray. The hold makes you too sluggish to guard, and he has ample time to charge this way, which means I'll give him the full 2.23. So 300 something times 2.23 equals 669 plus. This little guy would put up a decent effort, but unless Raditz was battle damaged with no armor and no tail, I'm going to say 9 times out of 10 Raditz takes this one. But if everything works out just right, I'll give Chaozu a very slight maybe. I'll say he could maybe slightly damage Raditz, but probably not kill him alone. Sorry, Chaozu fans. Now, Yamcha in the story was stated as 400 and rising slowly, so 400 plus. Let's say he goes full power Wolf Fang Fist and finishes off with a blast. So 400 plus times 2.23 equals 892 plus. Interesting. If Raditz was fresh, I'm going to say not quite, but he might get in some good hits. Now, if Raditz is battle damaged and missing a tail, I'll say Yamcha has a small shot. Now if he takes out his sword enhanced with the Bulma's tech, I'm going to say, unless Raditz is very nimble and knocks the weapon out of Yamcha's hand, I'll say Yamcha just might take this one, as long as Raditz doesn't transform. Now let's look at Krillin. He's got Roshi's bulk form here, but neither he nor Roshi has mastered it to the point that Roshi has in Super yet, so I'll give him the power level Raditz Red when he bulked up. So 460 times 2.23 equals 1025.8. Wow, that's pretty close. So if Raditz is fully prepared, he's going to survive that, but have some damage. However, if Krillin is smart and catches him off guard while battle damaged, I'll go ahead and say he just might take this one, even without the destructive disc. But with it? Yeah, if that hits Raditz, he's toast. Possibly even when transformed. However, because it's somewhat easy to dodge if you're nimble, we'll say this battle can go either way, but Krillin has a decently good shot if he's not the first to fight him. Now let's look at Tien. Oh boy. He's spent the longest time training at the lookout, so here he is at 5'10". Now let's times that by 2.23 and we get 1137.3. So unless Raditz throws up a double Sunday or something to negate some of that destructive tri-beam power, Raditz is close to done, even with only slightly battle damage. However, if he transforms, Tien is probably done for. But boy, that's pretty impressive. Now, with Piccolo and Goku being just marginally stronger than Tien is, this means that they also have some chance at beating Raditz one-on-one if they don't mess around. Unfortunately, Dragon Ball characters like to toy with each other and let their guard down. But even so, assuming they are in top condition and very focused, I'll go ahead and give it to Goku and or Piccolo for the win, in some cases at least, if Raditz doesn't transform. Now, where does this leave a theoretical Roshi, Gohan, or Chi-Chi one-on-one against Raditz? Well, I haven't really mentioned their power too much because they weren't in this fight, but let's just do a hypothetical while I'm at it. We can do some guesswork. So, if Roshi is able to bulk up and take Krillin's blows while Krillin isn't bulked up, that would mean Muscle Roshi is probably around 390 right now. And if he charges a full power Kamehameha, we'll give him a 2.23 boost and say, 869.7. Not quite enough, but not bad. Now, let's not forget he's got tons of experience. Not only does he have the Thunder Shock Surprise, but as a very last resort, the Evil Containment Wave. So I'll say at the very best, Roshi vs Raditz has a small chance of being a double KO. Now let's look at Gohan. Just normally fending for himself, it's probably about a 75 power level in this story right now. So if it's one-on-one and Gohan doesn't get angry, no. But if he happens to see someone he cares about hurt or dead because of Raditz, look out. I mean, if he could shoot past Raditz in canon with his hidden powers, here's no contest, unless Raditz acts quickly and transforms before Gohan attacks. But then, if Raditz transforms, so would Gohan, really. So, Raditz's only saving grace would be that he has more control in the form than Gohan would. Even so, the odds aren't really in his favor, and it's not really set in stone if we take Gohan's rage into account. What about Chi-Chi? She's kind of an anomaly, really. And in this story, well, she does do some sparring with Goku and Gohan on occasion. Let's say normally, when she's happy and just doing some housework or cooking something, she's about 112 or so. But if Goku makes her angry, she can shoot up to just shy of 250, actually making a decent warm-up for Goku, if he puts on extra heavy weights, that is. Gohan's got to get his hidden power from somewhere, and I think Goku's Saiyan Rage and Chi-Chi's Ox Princess temper is a volatile combination. Now, let's say Raditz is threatening Gohan and Chi-Chi is already angry that Gohan is forced to face him in the first place. Let's set up a scenario here. Let's say Chi-Chi was already angry at 250, making this her new base. But once Gohan is hurt, she is furious and that power skyrockets. This is hard to quantify, but I'll say another rage boost, plus a mother's love. We'll give it a 3 times multiplier, just to make things interesting. That puts her at 750. Not quite up to Raditz level, but closer than anyone expects her to be. But that's only in an extreme case, and I'd say she's way too angry to control that power at all, so sadly she loses, but boy, it's impressive all the same. Now, if Gohan actually died because of Raditz and she saw it, screw it. I'm just gonna say she'll take him down even if she has to blow herself up and die to do it. So, double KO at best. Or, so there you go, that's everyone's max power level, theoretically, during the Raditz fight, give or take. Now, let's check in on what type of training everyone is doing. In other words, the Earthlings made slightly quicker work of Snake Way than Goku did in canon because, 1, they were on average slightly stronger than he was in the original story, and 2, being in a group means they all motivate each other to see who can make it there first. Now, when they get there, it's actually Yamcha who masters 10 times gravity first, because of his prior experience in Bulma's gravity room, but the others soon follow suit, motivated by Yamcha's success. Meaning, not only did they get there faster than Goku, but they also caught bubbles faster, and have a bit more time to perfect King Kai's teachings. Because of this, King Kai is impressed with them all, and doesn't bother bringing out Gregory. He wants to see which of these gifted warriors might be able to master his techniques. So, since we've never actually seen what happens when different warriors adapt these moves to their own style, only Goku in canon, I'm going to say that it's possible that each warrior uses them a bit differently. Allow me to explain. Yamcha is the quickest of the bunch, but his energy signature is wild and untamed, making his use of the Kaioken less of a conscious multiplier, and more something that spikes and decreases naturally with the flow of his own fighting style. For example, when combined with his Wolf-Fang Fist, the newly dubbed KO Wolf, is anywhere from a 50% increase to something that spikes as high as a double for a split second, depending on the ferocity of his strikes and his level of focus. This drives scouters crazy, and makes Yamcha very unpredictable and tough to counter. He also seems rather adept at gathering energy for the Spirit Bomb, but he has trouble forming something that big into a ball. Now, Krillin, being Goku's best friend and a longtime Turtle School student, is most like Goku in his use of the Kaioken, except that where Goku might risk going higher than a double, Krillin is more cautious and he heeds King Kai's warnings for now, and instead opts to stack his bulk form on top of Kaioken if he sees the need to increase beyond that. His formation of the Spirit Bomb is quite good, but it takes him quite a while to gather the energy. As for Tien, he seems to be the risk-taker of the group. Considering techniques like the Tri-Beam already take a toll on the body, it seems he is the most determined to push the Kaioken to new heights, despite King Kai's protests. On the other hand, he seems to have the most trouble with the Spirit Bomb. He understands the concept, but has trouble believing himself to be pure enough to wield it because of his past as an assassin. Chaozu has trouble even maintaining a basic Kaioken because of his smaller and weaker physical body. Yet, he seems to have the easiest time gathering energy for the Spirit Bomb. It's almost as if his otherworldly powers go hand in hand with such a mystical technique. It seems to be the combination of his childlike innocence and his otherworldly connection to strange energy that makes him the perfect candidate for such an awesome attack. Back on Earth, Goku seemed to be struggling with 10 times gravity, until he realized it was his way to clothing. When he took it off, it was almost no trouble for him. But he figured the training would yield much better results with it on. Raditz, on the other hand, had no trouble at all with the gravity. It was akin to his home planet, but he struggled with weighted clothing. All in all, it seemed that after the respective Zenkais, after the battle, that they were close enough to equal to make good training partners. After that, the training with the Blitzwave machine proved to be interesting and do some strange things to their DNA, a mutation, if you will. It felt like the machine was helping them gain access to a small portion of their Ozaru form's energy reserves while still in base form, but it was difficult to get a handle on how best to use it. As for Piccolo, he would often train by himself until he discovered the benefits of the gravity room. He soon noticed the Saiyans leaping ahead of him in power, but he was able to somewhat make up for this by meditating in the gravity room while the two brothers slept. When the 6 months mark hit, he attempted to convince Kami to fuse with him, but Kami said Piccolo's path was still too dark and uncertain, so he offered him a compromise. He gave Piccolo some of his life energy. It was a small boost, but it could grow exponentially if only he let Kami's energy influence him and learn to care for others. Piccolo begrudgingly took this, figuring it was better than nothing. Now, Gohan and Chi-Chi, for their part, decided to take their own journey. Considering neither of them had ever climbed Korn's tower officially, nor had they climbed up to see Kami legitimately, at least for training purposes, they figured that this is what they would do for at least the first 6 months. Chi-Chi wanted to prove that she could do anything the guys could do, and Gohan figured Kami was the wisest teacher he knew that could give him a clue on how to control his hidden powers. And with that, I'll leave things here. This was supposed to be a smaller part, so much for that. The more I thought about it, the more I wanted to write. So, basically what this covered was hypothetical power levels for if each of the characters had to face Raditz one-on-one, and the first 6 months of training for the Saiyans. I hope you enjoyed it and weren't bored by going this in depth. So get excited for Dragon Ball Shift Part 7, where the big showdown with the Saiyans begins. Well, I hope that clears up some things and gets you excited for the story moving forward. Until then, thanks for listening and take care.